The other day I was reading the paper when I came across an amazing article. This is amazing. It turns out that the city of Baltimore keeps a list of its top 50 #1 cream of the crop, pick of the litter, most outstanding drug houses. The best houses in all of Baltimore for drugs. When I heard that, you could have beat me with a stick. I wouldn't have noticed. Now, I don't know exactly what you got to do to get on that list, but I figure it has a lot to do with your house being a good place to sell drugs, buy drugs, take drugs, and sadly, come to the end of your life because whatever drugs you just took killed you. I know it's a surprise that there's a city so messed up that it keeps a list like that. But there's an even bigger surprise. The people you're imagining living in those buildings, the junkies, the druggies, and the addicts, well, they may not be exactly who's living in those buildings. I don't know about you, but when I think about people with drug problems, I think about Vietnam vets and hippie kids who left behind crying parents and girlfriends. Crackheads from the 80s and 90s who broke into everybody's cars and took our radios. Or sold you a VCR for $10 wholesale before you remembered what your father said about deals that sounded too good to be true. Back in the 1980s, there was an entire industry of crackhead VCR salesmen. They'd run up to you on the street to sell you a VCR for, get this, $10. $5 if you could muster the courage to haggle with them. This is how it'd go. They had like a sixth sense, a nose for out-of-towners, especially nice, innocent people like, well, probably a lot like you. This is how they do it. One of them would sidle up to you on the sidewalk. Psst, VCR for $10. These guys cost $79 in the store. People loved VCRs back then, so this was an amazing deal. Not only that, but you were gonna rip that guy off. Talk about New York and a New Yorker. Except, things like this tended to happen after you gave him the money. And then, on the heels of the crack epidemic, came the crystal meth epidemic. I mean, what would you rather take, crack or crystal meth? It was beautiful at the start. It gave you unlimited energy. You could stay up for days. And it was great for sex. But then, the kind of things you'd expect to happen to someone who stayed up for days and days with unlimited energy, having sex all the time, started happening. People started looking all harried and tired. And then their teeth started going bad. They'd turn yellow, and then they'd fall out. And then their skin would go bad. It'd start turning yellow, and then it'd start getting all waxy and saggy looking. And like the teeth, it started looking like it was going to fall off their bones. And then they started getting awful ugly sores all over their bodies. And by around that time, it became pretty sadly obvious that those people were never going to be those people. Those young, pretty people they were, ever again.